Go. Hello everyone and welcome to the Open Talks episode number 9. In this episode we are going to talk about very interesting things. First is like OnePlus is again in the highlights. It's like slowing down its pro devices, like the latest pro devices. It's like the opposite thing they do. Like they generally do slow down the other older models, but now it's the other thing. Second is Abhiram had some very weird experience with Flipkart and Amazon, both of them. So let's see what those were like. And it's like really needful for you all to know like, what happened. So let's see what happened. Other than that, rights to repair is in motion. Like literally, Joe Biden is enforcing some laws. So yeah, I mean, someone is on our side. And the last one is like Qualcomm is trying to take over Apple M1 chip, right? They have the strategy. So let's see what's their strategy, right? So I guess let's roll the intro. Okay, so the first topic is OnePlus. So what is happening is like OnePlus is trying to develop a feature which will save the battery of the phone, right? So it's like this. So if OnePlus detects that if you are running Chrome or you are running WhatsApp or you are running Twitter or those apps, which doesn't require a lot of performance, so what they will do is they will not allow those apps to access the bigger codes. So and the thing is that whenever you will run the benchmarks, they will they'll absolutely allow those benchmark apps to run.
Maybe even overloaded, right?
Yeah, even overloading. Absolutely. The OnePlus does it from ages, that thing. So yeah, that's the thing. Like I mean, the only issue I'm seeing here, like it's a good feature, right? I mean, I'm not against it, but the thing is that should be an option. Like some users need speed, so I mean, like there should be absolutely some options.
Yeah, like I do agree with you, right? I mean, there is nothing else for me to add, but the thing is, like, what if we want to slow down something else, right? I mean, if the system has the privilege to slow down apps, right? Like we can, in theory, slow down any apps, right?
Yeah.
For example, let's say if we have like Microsoft Teams, right? I mean, Microsoft Teams is notorious for using battery life. And what if we just slow down Microsoft Teams, right? We do have absolutely, the power to do it, right? I mean,
correct.
But does the manufacturer want you to have it, right? That is a question. Like the power is there, but will they give it to you, right?
Right.
So I mean, there should always be an off button. There should always be a button to enable it for specific apps and stuff like that. And I am positive towards web browsers, right? You told web browsers will be the ones which are mainly affected by this particular change, right? I mean, web browsers are notorious for using battery life, right? By the way.
Absolutely, yes. They are literally like
they are literally having I mean, think about it. Like it is just code running in your PC, right? I mean, if you take the web browser, right? I mean, for example, Firefox. We are going to Google, right? Google is not just a HTML page anymore, right? HTML plus CSS. It is not just that. There is more to it. Like there is JavaScript, right? There is JavaScript, and the JavaScript is something which is written by normal coders, right? And this is a Turing complete language. Turing complete means that this language do support loops, and it can maybe even like allocate a lot of memory to make your computer crash, right? I mean, that much power it has, right? That particular language. And in theory, right, Google is fine, right? I mean, Google, the code will be absolutely fine. Most probably it will be good. But think about something like a website called Microsoft.com, right? So if you just go to Microsoft.com, like think about how much unoptimized the code will be, the JavaScript, right?
Sick.
If you just go to like OneDrive.com, again, unoptimized, right? I mean, now you are running Windows level of optimizations on your machines, right? So
Yep.
yeah, now what you're up with is no RAM, no CPU, two things, right? Like RAM is gone,
Right,
CPU is
right,
gone.
right.
Like CPU mainly gets hit, the battery gets hit, right? Like
Yeah.
RAM, I don't think will directly affect the battery, right? I mean, unless the RAM is so much out that it starts paging. I mean, paging in the sense like RAM, right? You have the RAM, and the RAM gets kicked down, right? Kind of like. Otherwise, it is fine, absolutely fine, right?
Yeah.
So the thing
Right.
is, I think this is a good direction, and you kind of know one more thing, right? The major course, right? The little big design, right? The little big design is absolutely amazing. That is, the little course use
Yeah,
very less
that's
power,
pretty
right?
Even Intel is going in that direction. Like they are
Absolutely.
trying to build some.
The main thing is that the little cores, like even if like you can say, let's say hypothetical processor, right, has 1.5 gigahertz for the big cores and maybe like 1 gigahertz for the little core, right? Even if it is just
Okay.
0.5 gigahertz of difference, right? That is
Yeah.
when you think about it, the difference is just, I don't know, like uh, 10 divided by 15, how much it is? 10 divided by 15 into 100. Uh, yeah, maybe like, I don't know, like 80% or something, right? 80% is the performance of the little codes, right? If you think about it,
Okay.
right? Compared to the major codes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, major course, if 100% it is the performance it offers, then little course gives you 80%. So, if that is the case, normally 80% power should be consumed by the little course when compared to major course, right?
Correct.
But it is not correct. Like, the little course uses maybe even 50% of the power of the major course,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, delivering higher performance at a lower, battery hit, there is higher efficiency, right? That is the big
Yeah.
little design, the major advantage of the big little design, and that is why
Correct.
it is called power saving cores, right? I mean, because they are very high efficiency cores, and I think this is a good direction, right? Normally in old days, those
Yeah.
cores were only used for sleeps, right? Whenever your device is sleeping, the other major cores get shut down, and kind of like those cores are used for sleeping, right? Otherwise, every core
Right.
gets used. That is the thing, right? It is like just scheduled, right? To every core,
Yeah.
actually.
Exactly. Then there is no point of having little bit design.
Yeah. Only when the sleeping is there, little big designs make sense, right?
Yeah.
But now I think it makes much more sense because now you can make apps which are notorious for using the CPU and heating on battery, right?
Wow.
Kind of
Yeah.
work on slower cores, thereby basically
Yeah.
forcing it to use lesser CPU, right? I mean, the thing is,
Right.
you kind of know that JavaScript is really relative in the sense like if it can't load much stuff, if it sees that the CPU performance is not that good, then what it will do is it will skip loading components and like just make it better,
I
right?
see.
Like you kind of know that,
Yeah.
right? And that is the difference between your phone version and the desktop version, right? I mean, desktop version loads every bells and whistles, while your phone version loads like half of that, and that is why phone the things load very fast, right? When compared to desktops, because desktops have so
Right.
much things like ads there, here, like everywhere. Like in phones,
Yeah.
you don't see ads
Literally.
much, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean there is ads, right? But it's not that big, like it's not that huge.
Yeah. Not that much prominent. Correct.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, like, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good thing, but I think OnePlus
They're
should have
doing
the
good,
option.
but the only thing is that there should be option. Like there must be some people who are trying to use Chrome for some kind of high performance needs. So I guess for them it's a very bad thing.
Absolutely,
It's like
absolutely.
different user cases, different requires different kind of power profiles. So,
Yeah. Nowadays, I think web browsing on phone is decreasing, right? By the way, I think. personally for me, I am using less web browsers on phones nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
When compared to old days, right, where we exclusively use phone for a lot of web browsing, I guess.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So nowadays we are using apps, right? Like Amazon got apps,
Exactly.
like everything got apps,
Exactly.
and I think apps are taking over everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you think? Let's go to the.
Yeah.
By the way, just want to note, like say OnePlus last time, right? Did one thing, right? That is merge with OS and the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this plus that might actually yield a very low performance, right? In web browser. Like
Correct.
OS is already really optimized for performance, right? So even if
Yeah.
you are using little cores, it might not make much of a difference. But when Color OS
Right.
comes into the scene, and now we have the question: are they going to stick with the performance of the OS or stick with the performance of the Color OS?
I literally read in a blog, right, that they are going to replace the core of OnePlus, Oxygen OS with Color OS.
So
They're
it
not
is
going to
basically like they
replace the
are
scheme.
going to kick out performance of the Oxygen OS.
Yes, absolutely. The thing is that core will be same for Color OS and Oxygen OS. Just the skin will be different. So like
Okay.
you will see your phone exactly same. Like OnePlus will look exactly same, but the core will be different. So I mean, there you go.
Oh man. Okay. So I think that sums everything about OnePlus.
Absolutely. I mean, the reason why Kalpe left the position of co-founder, right, is this only.
Absolutely.
They're going the other way.
I mean, think about the companies, right? Like WhatsApp starts joining with Facebook, Signal gets born,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Likewise, a lot of things, right? I mean, a lot of examples are there, right? Not
Right.
just with Signal, like there are a lot of examples. I don't remember now, but there are a lot.
Right.
E-
The thing is that like when OnePlus came out, right, was OnePlus 3.
Absolutely.
It was my dream phone. Like I wanted to buy that phone. Like I didn't buy it because I had Eureka at the time. But the next target was like OnePlus. But then I bought Asus. Like now I feel good like that I bought Asus.
Absolutely. I mean, OnePlus doesn't have any headphone jack, right, at this point. They don't have the performance they used to. Right? I
Yep.
mean, they even have shitty cameras and say that they have McLaren, not McLaren. What is it? What is it? Camera brand?
That's Hasselblad.
Hasselblad. Yeah, Hasselblad cameras. And I mean, seriously, like they are just saying they're just putting them in a particular point where they're saying, buy this phone and you will be recognized as someone who is rich, right? Then
Yeah.
buy this phone. This phone is very useful for you, right? You know.
Right.
So I think actually, I think really that Samsung is now a better option, right?
Yeah. Samsung is consistent. Like it is even improving. Like you remember like from TouchWiz it has came this far, right?
Absolutely,
That was like literally TouchWiz was it is shit. It was shit.
absolutely.
Now like the experience is pretty good.
TouchWiz, I mean, those days, right? Like it just gets stuck the like most time you want to use it, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
and but the thing is, like Samsung kind of innovated from start to end, right?
Yeah.
Like
Just remember, right? Features in TouchWiz were really good.
absolutely.
We are not blaming the features. Like features were absolutely. Even at this point, it is Samsung is having the best features in any phone.
Absolutely. The thing is,
They're
they're having some features which no other brand ever has, right? Like
Yeah, I think other brands cannot even develop like OnePlus. Samsung has that much amount of R&D power with them.
they have the developer power and they have
Exactly.
like one thing I'm literally a little bit, the thing is, Samsung from S5, right? They had multi windows. They had most of the features which they had, right?
Yep.
it feels like they have stalled, right? The development has stalled, right? I mean, the features switched, right? The UI is better now,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it got better, but the features got stalled, right? After that.
Yeah. There are, I guess, no huge new features. Right?
Yes, except Samsung Dex, which is new feature, right? I mean,
Oh.
but that is already
pretty
there
good.
from S9, if I am correct,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
The Dex feature. So it is like now,
Yes,
it is
so-
like S21, right? I mean, that is the latest one.
Yep.
And now the Note is dead. I mean, you know, in theory, it's not dead. It merged with S, right? Like,
Right.
yeah. But the thing is, I do think Samsung do deserve their own, you know, position, right? Because
Definitely.
they tried putting iris sensor. They put, you know, they put the facial, like, you know, even before people started using the dot, you know, projection technology, the Apple uses, right? Like Samsung
Yeah.
used it,
Yeah.
and Samsung was like,
Yeah.
no, like it doesn't work, right? I mean, people doesn't want
Right.
it. The thing was, Samsung
Exactly.
didn't polish it yet, like, you know, to a point where it was like snappy, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But Apple did it, like. But the thing is,
Yeah. Apple just.
then everyone forgot about Samsung, like, you know, they did it first.
Exactly.
And retina scanning, I mean, seriously, like retina scanning in phones, I thought that way might stick, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Absolutely. I mean, that was next level.
like, think about it. The one thing you can't just get it from in anything, like, you know, for example, if you just open a camera, right? You can't just
Yeah.
get your retina scan from a camera, right? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You can just get your
fingerprints, you
fingerprint
can just-
everywhere.
Exactly.
Your face is everywhere, right? But not your
Absolutely.
retina, right? That is unique to
Yeah.
you, and for cloning that, you have to deliberately be tricked to, you know, literally
Right.
look at a scanner, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it actually feels that, you know, I mean, that should have been the next thing, right? But you kind of know one more company which actually innovates died, right? That is LG.
LG.
Yeah.
LG. Oh, man.
And yeah, I mean,
LG was doing really good. I mean,
the thing was they made phones just with next level features, right? They should
Exactly.
have
And
made
everyone-
something for the normal
everyone
consumers,
copied
right?
it, right?
Like the normal
Yeah.
people, the people who just want a phone, right? That is where Samsung shines, right? Samsung comes up with, you know, dumb ass phones, like, you know, those A series
Yeah.
and those dumb ass phones, right? Which basically dumb people buy, right? Dumb in the sense, like, you know, the people who just want a phone buys, right? I mean,
Right.
they don't have any fancy features like multi-window, like sidebar. Nothing is there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they just have the pure OS and it just works, and it costs like hell, right? I mean, you know, compared to Xiaomi and those kind of things. And I mean, you know, then the market is captured, right? That particular market is now captured. There is no
Yeah.
scarcity, right?
Correct.
But the thing is, for LG, they just don't do that. I mean, LG, they are like B20, P30, like dual screen,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
All expensive phones, like
Yeah.
they just put them at very high height, right? I mean, with LG Gram
Right.
also, the laptop is too expensive, right? I mean, only niche audience will
Yeah.
buy it, right?
Correct.
They have to at least make a laptop which is cheaper for normal people to buy. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they can't sustain with this business model, and
Yeah.
that is
Absolutely.
exactly the problem with the LG mobiles, and that is how it failed, right? So I am literally thinking maybe the LG laptops will also fail, right? I don't know. Like the thing is,
Okay.
it is not that huge amount of sales are going on with LG grams.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure the LG grams are really rare, like everywhere, right?
I
And
see.
I mean, LG gram is absolutely good, right? I mean, it has stunning display. It's absolutely
Yeah.
good.
Device-wise, it is pretty good.
But in the sense, like no one will buy it because there are laptops which are cheaper than that, performs, you know,
Correct.
as good as that,
Correct.
right? You know, but
Yeah.
not as light as that. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. but the thing is, they didn't make some laptops for, you know, cheaper audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
Right.
Okay, so
So
we have covered, I guess, from OnePlus
yeah,
to
pretty much in
Samsung to
depth.
Xiaomi to LG, I guess.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
I
go.
guess let's move to the next topic, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So next topic is like it is about you, right? I mean, you experience some weird
Oh man.
things with online vendors. So
Okay, right.
Abram, like it's better that you share the story in your words, right? So
Absolutely.
there goes nothing.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, like if you just see this, right, you can kind of see that there are a lot of hard drives, right? I mean, here, and you can see that these are all like Barracuda Compute, ST2000DM006, right? I mean, this
Yeah,
is fine.
yeah,
This is all SMR drives, which you can see here, right? I mean,
yeah,
most of them are SMR. But
yeah.
when you go down, right, you go down and you just find out, this particular hard drive, right? This is like you can see that
Okay.
this is basically a different model, which is 001, right? So this is
Yeah.
supposed to be like PMR or CMR, right? That is
Okay.
perpendicular magnetic recording or conventional magnetic recording, whichever you want to call it.
Yes.
But the thing is, when you buy it, you just suppose this thing shows up, right? Like the CMR drive.
Hmm.
But
Correct.
the sellers are like, no, we're just going to send you the cheaper version, that is SMR drive.
Abram, first thing, like, what's the main difference between SMR and CMR, and
Okay,
why
so
CMR is shipped is like costly?
right. I think we have covered in a one of the other talk or like open talks episode, right? What
Yeah.
is the difference between SMR and CMR? So let me like explain once again, right? So
Yeah.
SMR is something like you have multiple tracks and the tracks are
Okay.
shingled on top of each other, right? So what happens is it
Right.
looks like a shingled roof, those old roofs, right, where there are shingles and the shingles are on top of each other, right? So there is an overlap
Yeah.
between shingles, and like that the
Right.
tracks looks. So tracks are basically like you can say, you know the magnetic tape, right? The tape is like a track, right? Normally the tape has two tracks, right? The cassettes, right? The
Yes.
cassettes have two track. You have A side and B side. You can just flip it over, right, and play it.
Right.
And you have two tracks on top of it, and that is a tracks, right? That is specifically, like a line, a row, right? A row
Yeah.
of recording, and in like the platter is a disc, so it goes like a circle, right? I mean, literally a circle.
Correct.
And the tracks normally doesn't overlap, right? It is literally, you can say hard disks are bigger versions of the tape drives, right? you know
Okay.
hard disks are faster and bigger versions of the tape drive, where
Yeah.
the tapes are basically like arranged circularly, right, over the disk.
I see.
That is a way to
See.
put it, right, when you think about it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the thing is, for SMR, these are all shingled. So what happens is, if you want to write one track, you have to write the overlapping track also, right?
Okay.
You have to rewrite that.
Okay.
So the two tracks you have to write it simultaneously, right? So this is exactly
Right.
why
Right.
you need more cache memory, because you have to take more data and put it into cache memory. You have to read some data from the
Right.
disk and put it into the cache memory and take all the data and write it, right? Kind of like.
Yeah.
So that is like a read plus a write instead of a write operation, right?
I see.
And that is slow,
I see.
right? But if you
Yeah,
just
that is
want to
absolutely.
read it, it is fine, right? I mean, you can just read it, right? There is
Yeah.
there is no one preventing you from like reading the disk. It is totally fast as it should be, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to write it, then you have to write multiple tracks simultaneously, and to write it, you have to read it, right, first. So that is
So
the
that
difference.
sums up to, like, I mean, SMR and CMR both are good at reading,
Absolutely,
but CMR is faster with writing.
absolutely.
So that's why it is more costly, right? And
Absolutely.
what these sellers are doing is they're showing you the same capacity, but they're delivering you the different model. Like, they're showing you the CMR on the website, and they're delivering you the SMR, which is like cheaper and slower. So I mean, it was you who discovered, right? If it was some normal user who just sees the capacity of the drive and just accepts it, he won't ever know, like in his life, that I got cheated.
The
So
thing is, like,
then,
see this thing. Like, this is a Toshiba drive, right? I mean, this thing
yeah.
I bought, saying this is a like a CMR drive, right? It said in the description.
One minute.
Yeah, it is.
Like first, let's go in the chronological order. So what happened was,
Okay.
you ordered Seagate from Flipkart, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Then they delivered you SMR.
Yep, yep.
You returned it, and you went with Amazon.
Like, I mean, I did the
Amazon.
replacement and I got like SMR again, right? I mean,
Okay, so in Flipkart you didn't go with refund. You went with replacement.
yeah, there's
and
a
you
policy,
got-
right? You can
so-
do only like replace then refund, right? I mean,
I see.
that is
I
their
see.
policy,
Okay,
right?
okay.
Amazon also most probably
Yeah.
the same.
Right. So, I mean, you did replace, then again got SML, and then you did refund.
Absolutely.
So, and then you went with Amazon.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, now you can show that drive, right? I mean,
Okay,
you see-
so I think in the next tab there should be Amazon. So I'm just going to click on that.
absolutely.
So here you go. These are like the the listing, right? And you can see that this is the one, right? 5400 RPM, 128 MB cache. This is SMR,
Yeah,
right? Listing,
yeah.
right? That is
Yeah, that's
absolutely
the same.
fine. But when you go down, you can kind of see another one, which is 7000 RPM, right? So 2 TB desktop 7000 RPM drive. So 7200, right? I mean, this is
Okay.
absolutely CMR, right? Because
That's right.
you can only go this kind of rotations per minute with CMR,
So,
right?
yeah, that's only possible with C.
And I mean, you can do with SMR, but there are some other
Yeah.
things, right? So let's not go
And
into
also
that.
see the price difference, right? I mean, the price difference is huge.
Price difference is absolutely huge. And the thing is, Seagate SMR goes bugger out, right? It is like 4,200 rupees or something, right?
Okay.
When compared to this thing. And
Yeah.
let's see, like this thing, right? I mean, you can see at the bottom, right? The model number is actually, yeah, there you go, right? The model number is actually that, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
This is a model number, and what I have got
Right.
is a different model number. So let me like show this to you, right? So this is having the model number HDWD220 UV
Okay.
something. U is that SVA, yeah, U is SVA, right? And this is
Yeah.
absolutely SMR drive, right? I mean, this is SMR.
Hmm.
And the thing is,
Right.
I bought CMR but got SMR. But the thing is, if I was a normal customer, I'll be like, okay, yeah, there's a drive. I will just break the packaging, open it, and I just put it in my computer, right? And
Right,
there
right,
goes.
right, absolutely.
I see 2 TB free space. Absolutely perfect. Just copy it. Files copy perfectly.
Yeah.
Files read perfectly. Everything is fine, right? So
Yeah.
when you see the difference is where you just load
Exactly.
Windows in this SMR drive. You just load Windows in
Yeah.
CMR drive. SMR drive will be around 2 times faster, like 2 times slower, 2 times slower than the CMR drive, right?
Yeah.
It is like the SMR
Right.
is not at all made for writing, right? I mean, in the sense like
Yeah.
it is a backup technology, right? It is made for backups, and it is mainly used only so that the disk can be basically like kept, written once, kept, and read many times, right? Like kind of like
I see.
that is the main use of SMRs, and
Correct.
currently it is like used, I don't know, like even in WD blacks, right? WD black, like think about it, like WD black, right? Like black means performance, right? I mean literal performance.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
that is SMR, like,
What the hell?
and they literally made a lineup called WD Black Pro with CMR.
Oh man.
I mean, see the thing. WD Black was CMR, right? how can you make something from CMR to SMR, right? Like, I mean,
Exactly.
renaming the CMR brand to Pro and making the normal thingy like SMR, like that doesn't make a sense. Like, I mean, make WD Black SMR
Yeah.
and WD Black the normal thing, right? I mean, maybe even rename it to Pro, right? The other will be SMR. Let the WD Black die,
Correct.
right? Likewise, like I thought just WD, right? I mean, just WD. Then check with Segate. Segate, Barracuda. Barracuda Pro.
Oh man.
There is Barracuda.
Yeah.
Barracuda Pro. Barracuda Pro. Barracuda Pro uses CMR. Barracuda uses SMR. What the hell?
I see.
Like these things all used CMR, right? Don't mistake me. Like everything uses CMR. And I think only hard disk which absolutely says in the datasheet that they are CMR or SMR is Toshiba, right?
Yeah, they're upfront, right?
They are upfront to you that this is SMR, this is CMR, and they even say to you SMR is meant for backups and casual, home use, not really meant
Perfect.
for intensive writes. And they just say if you want intensive writes, go ahead, buy a CMR drive, and they list all the CMR drives.
Yeah.
And I guess I literally read that, bought the correct model, got a different model. So this seems that this is not just an issue with the just the the manufacturers now, right? Not just the manufacturers are pushing this. Now even the sellers are pushing this. Like I get it, right? I mean, it's like selling a CMR drive, right? Then sending an SMR drive, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that gives them money, right? But
I mean, literally thousand rupees, I guess.
absolutely. And think about something like this. What if I go to warranty, right?
Oh man.
Right? This model doesn't match anymore, right? In the listing.
At that
The
time,
warranty
like,
slip will absolutely have the model number, and the model number won't match. And how
It
can I
won't
even
match,
get the
yeah.
warranty? Right? This
That is so
absolutely
bad.
says that you have to, whenever you buy something from online stores, you have to cross-reference the model number. Like, is
Absolutely.
the model number listed in the bill exactly the same as what you're
Yeah.
getting, right?
Yeah.
Even if the specs are exactly the same, right? If the model number is
Correct.
different, they will say this is a different bill.
Yeah.
Like you have paid for some
Absolutely.
other model, right? And now you're coming with the
Right.
bill and saying that you bought this hard drive with this bill, and they'll be like, they'll be laughing at you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They will like, roll over the floor.
And that is absolutely why we should basically be cautious with this
Yeah.
sellers and with the malpractices
Yeah, I
going
mean,
on, I guess.
Just scan the model number till the last digit, right? I mean, just scan it twice so that you are sure that you have received the correct product.
Perfect. Yeah, like we have to read it like twice. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely correct.
So
Yeah. So I guess that's about that topic. Let's go to the next topic. So, like we were talking about the rights to repair in like one of our earlier podcasts, right?
absolutely.
Now it's like really happening at a larger scale and stage. So literally the president, right? President of United States is trying to enforce the law. So what the law says, let's see. So just switching the screens. Just a moment. Yeah, so what the law is trying to say is users should have the ability to repair their products. Like so let's say I have an Apple MacBook, right? I won't have in my whole life, but let's just assume. So now the thing is that like if there is some issue with my speaker, right, and if I go with some local repair shop, right now what the situation is, like the local shop will repair it, and that's not an issue. But now if there is some bigger issue with M1 chip or a screen, right, and I just want to go with the authorized service center, and the laptop is still in warranty, right? So now the authorized service center, what they will tell me is that you have repaired your product with unauthorized service center, and now it's out of warranty because of that thing. So rights to repair actually is trying to cut out that thing. You know, if even if you have repaired it yourself or at unauthorized service center, the company should actually should not void your warranty. So the law has not still yet applied. It's still in progress, but it will be applied soon. And as soon as it applies, Microsoft and Apple, those two demons, right? They have to kind of, I guess, abide to it.
So, I think my views on this is basically, I mean, like, what if Apple gives you the right to repair, right?
Okay.
I mean, like, the thing is, it is just the right to repair, right?
Yeah.
You change a part from one phone to another phone, right? You buy two iPhones,
Yeah.
you swap a camera, the camera doesn't work anymore, right?
Yep. Yeah.
They will absolutely give you warranty, right? I mean,
Right.
what about it, right? You know, like,
Okay.
the things are paired, right? Like, I think this is a positive direction, right? They're going into, like, you know, I absolutely support
Yeah.
this, but the thing is, this is not complete yet. Like, you know,
Correct,
what
correct,
Biden said, they have to complete it a little bit more. That is, they have to unlock these things.
Yes.
Otherwise, there is, you know, you can just swap parts and never get anything working, right? I mean, that is the current situation of things. Like, you can just swap parts and nothing works, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that is true for Samsung. I mean, you know, we have already covered it, I guess, Open Talks episode number 1 or something, right? I mean, Samsung did it, Apple did it. I mean, who knows what does it, right? Most probably, you know, Microsoft is doing it with Surface, right? I don't know, right? Most
Yeah.
probably they are doing it. And I mean, OnePlus is doing it, right? You know, with the newer phones,
Correct.
they, like, people are not able to replace the battery, it seems.
Yep.
You have to get it programmed, right? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, like, I think one thing we have to give it is that now, in theory, if you kind of drop your phone, right, in your water, right,
Hmm.
you can, in theory, open your phone peacefully, dry it,
Yeah.
right, without actually voiding the warranty, right, in theory.
Yeah.
And only if the water damage stickers are not, you know, bleeding, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you kind of know that it is specifically put in places where the weak spots are there. I mean, you know, they have literally water
Exactly.
tested their phones to a point where they know where it is going to fail, right? And
Yeah,
that is the
yeah.
point where they just put the water indicators. But, you know, still you can just,
Absolutely.
I guess, you replace those, maybe, like, if you get some water indicator thingy, right?
Yeah.
And maybe, like, make it look like brand new. But I mean,
Correct.
yeah, like, I just talked this with my friend, right? And, like,
Okay.
his name is Akshay, right? I mean, we should have seen it in the chat,
Yeah.
right? And he was saying this should devastate companies, right? I mean, in terms of like, if everyone has the right to repair, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, do they, right? I mean, they are locking down stuff, right? Everyone has right to repair doesn't mean that you have the parts to repair, right? Right to repair not equal to parts to repair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't agree with him, right? Really, unless they give out the parts, right? But
Yeah,
hope they give out the parts,
Exactly.
and once they give out the parts, maybe, like, you know, give them at like 1.5 times the original price. It's
Yeah.
fine, right? People who want to repair
That's
themselves,
also true.
they are actually,
Correct.
you know, they are willing to give you more than what
Yeah.
even costs at service centers to repair if you want,
Sure.
right? And it is mainly because, like, think about it, like, your phone is your private thing, right? And People don't want your private thing to be exposed to anyone, right? And even if
Absolutely.
Apple is really good at screening people to basically take it the genius bar, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there have been incidents where people's personal photos were exposed to the internet, right? Where they were not
Yeah.
really, and also like people like use accounts of the customers to send stuff to other people, right? You can
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and
Right.
I mean
Right.
those are perverts, but like think about it. Like, I mean, if that happens, then what like when it is safe, right? Like you can't say you just give a phone to the Apple service center and just say it's safe, right? There is always a percentage chance that this
Absolutely.
can happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you don't have any content in your phone which is not not that much of an issue for you, right? They can also destroy your life by doing something with your phone, right? In theory, because you have everything logged in your phone, right? I mean, your
Yeah.
social medias are logged in, everything is logged in, OTPs are there. I
Right.
mean, everything is revolving around the phone, right? The phone is so
Correct.
precious that it
Correct.
is, if you give if you basically give a phone unlocked to another person, right? You are surrendering all your keys. That is how it looks like
Absolutely.
at
It's
this
a
particular
disaster.
point. And I think people should have the power to repair their own phone so that they can do it privately at their own comfort, right?
Right.
I mean, so that they have the peace of mind that no one except them saw their data and had access to their phones, right?
Correct.
Like think about
That's
it.
right.
Like you kind of know that I am into hacking, right? I mean, I was like not nowadays, but still, like when I think about it,
Yeah.
I can, if I get a phone, right? Like if I get your phone, if I want to hack you, right? That is the best chance.
Yeah.
I can install apps which I made.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can breach firewalls,
Absolutely.
right? I can have rootkits in your phone. I can have
So
remote administration tools in your phones, right? And there are a lot of things I can do with your phone, and I can even
yeah.
hide those tools, right? So
Yeah.
that means that
Yeah.
when I give you the phone back, you trust me to
Yeah.
do a good job and to not install this. But if I am a psychopath,
Correct.
I will do this. I will install this, and I will give it back to you.
Absolutely.
And you won't know it until you are too late, right? I mean, right?
Correct.
Like too late in the
Correct.
sense something happens, then only you know, right? I mean, this is silent.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not talking about NSA and those kind of people, right? We are talking about normal people, destroying each other's life, right? I mean, and
Right.
I think this is also should be applied to laptops, right? I mean, laptops should be also be repairable. And in theory, if like my proposal is that if you are going to repair a phone, right? If you are going to repair a phone, make it on site and make it in front of the customer, right?
Yeah. 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 That is. I mean. Yeah.
That is
That's
the
a good
thing
solution.
which
Yeah.
should be done, right? Take the parts,
Absolutely.
come in front, repair it. Don't give the logic
Yeah.
board, don't take the logic board into the the service center, right? Keep the logic board in front of the person who owns
Right.
the logic board is the brains of the whole phone, right? So in theory,
Yeah.
if the logic board is secured with the person, it is fine, right?
Correct.
People are magicians, right? They can do the sleight of
Absolutely.
hand really easily, swap components,
Yeah.
but this will reduce the people who are
Correct.
exploiting it to a point where it is very less, right? So
Absolutely.
I am literally positive to this, but my friend says, this is just a bill, right? By the way, this is not yet passed, right? Completely.
Yeah. It's not used.
So he says, it might get passed, but not completely. It might be partial, right?
Okay.
And that might be a problem. I mean, yeah. America is a very, very, you can say, focused on economy, right? That is, they don't focus on the, environment that much. They want
That is
every
correct.
company to work and every company to produce more, right? Push goods more into the market.
Exactly.
You know that, right? Like that is how they
Yeah.
work. Because the thing is, at last, to get money, that is the best option to do.
Yeah.
and this will
literally,
actually hurt the
that's a
sales, right?
disruption.
So I do actually think that whatever he is saying is correct, because there might be a pull from the like, not he's just a president, right? There are a lot of people who are
Yeah,
who does have the say on this, right? There might be a pull from
correct.
those people, right, to say this is a bad decision. You have made a
Yes.
bad decision. Let us slowly like die off, right? I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully that
correct.
this actually means that the right to repair is getting traction, right? More and more and more,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and hopefully, like,
absolutely.
in few years we will get what we need, that is uh, full control over our devices.
Mm.
Whichever devices we own, we get like at least the abstract schematics of what the connections are,
Yeah,
like something like the
right,
keyboard goes here,
right.
here are the voltages, here is 12 volt, here is 5 volt, here is 3.3,
Correct.
and you can just take your multimeter and check the voltages, right? And just
Yeah,
do like, okay, if the logic board is working, it should have this line as high, right? Test positive.
right,
They shouldn't
right,
even
right.
like give the whole circuit to us, right? I mean, they need not to just
Mm,
do
mm.
the checking, right? I mean, to check
Yeah,
just the power supplies are there, the clock signal is there, that is enough for testing.
absolutely.
And that is, I mean, the thing is, if you take a motherboard, there is no way for anyone to hide, because the traces are absolutely there. You can reverse engineer it, right? It is
Yeah,
not like
yeah, yeah.
software, where
Correct.
software is little bit, you can obfuscate the software to a point where it
Yeah,
is really hard to unread, right? Like it really hard to
right.
read. I mean, not unread, right?
Yeah,
In case of chips, they can just erase the numbers on the chips. That is it. Still, you can guess what the chip is and what that does, like, because of the
correct.
circuit, right? How it looks like. I mean, the components near it. It all gives
Yeah,
away what the circuit might do.
yeah. Reverse engineering of a hardware is like easier than software. Correct.
Absolutely, that is the main takeaway. So I mean, giving a little bit of information to the customer is better, like, than giving none at all.
Yeah,
Than saying, okay, this is a place where authorized personnel only should access. Don't ever go in, right? Users are not allowed here,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Think about users. Users are not dumb people. Like, they might be engineers. They might be even electronics engineers who designs
Yeah,
board, right?
correct,
These
correct.
things. And
Right.
users thinking users are dumb is the dumbest thing ever, right?
Yeah,
Users are in
that's the
multiple
dumbest thing.
levels, and the
Correct.
users who don't want to touch these things, they have the service center, right?
Yeah,
The people who want to touch these things give an option for them to touch these things, right? I mean,
correct.
so I guess that concludes that. If you don't have any more to add, I guess.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so the last topic is like it's interesting. Qualcomm is trying to take over M1. Like what they're trying to do is they're hiring the ex Apple employees who were actually working on M1 chip. So essentially, uh, ideally, I mean, they should be able to build the exact same version or maybe better version of M1 in collaboration with Qualcomm. So, like, in theory, we should all be able to see a better Snapdragon in future, right?
I mean, when you think about the IP theft, right? It is not like when you hire someone, right, from another company.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
implement the logic in a different way, right,
right.
that is in a gray area. That is no longer, you can say, an IP theft, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So this happens every time, right? Like Intel innovates something, AMD just hires them, right?
yeah.
And
Correct,
yeah,
correct, correct.
a lot of things actually
This
happen
happens
like
every
this,
time.
right? I mean, and
Yeah,
like Louis Roseman also said one time, right? Like, if Intel makes something, right? I mean, not just Intel. I
yeah,
mean, Asus makes something, right? Then Dell doesn't make the same thing again, right? I mean, Dell says, "I want a Wi-Fi chip," right? Like that is what they say,
okay,
right? I want a Wi-Fi chip, and
yeah,
they just put the circuitry, right, for the Wi-Fi chip. there, right?
Okay.
This is
Okay.
put it, but the circuitry might be exactly same as what they have in the Apple or even HPs, right? Like it might be same.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they just say, I want Wi-Fi. That is it, right? I mean, the Dell says, I want Wi-Fi. They don't say, I want this chip, this component, this resistor, right? I mean, they don't say like that. I just want Wi-Fi chip,
Correct.
and it should use UART, maybe. Like, it should use iSQC,
I
right? I
see.
mean, that is all they say. And that means, the companies like, you can say, TSMC, right? TSMC and
Yeah.
Foxconn, and I mean not TSMC, I guess Foxconn and those kind of companies, right? What they do is they just copy the design, paste it because it works, right? I mean the
Yeah.
Wi-Fi chip, the
Right.
passive components, everything just works together. It's in harmony. Why change it, right? Why fix it
Right.
when it is not broken, right? So
Exactly.
they just copy it, and the thing is they don't release the schematic because of that, right? And this is
Yeah.
how the IP theft happens, right? But it is in the gray area now because no one knows about it, right? Like that is
Yeah.
how the
Yeah.
processors are. Like if you copy M1, Apple M1 into Qualcomm's design,
Hmm.
someone has to find it, right? Like
Yeah.
it is not like Qualcomm is producing the exact, how the literally transistors are arranged, right?
Absolutely. No.
Absolutely, no one is saying about that. Even God knows
Correct.
how the transistors are arranged in, Apple M1, right?
Yeah.
You just get a dumb idea of how the CPU might look like,
Yeah.
there is a, like a adder here, there is a shift register there is a bus here, right? I mean, that is all you get. That is the architectural diagram, right? And that is a diagram. That is how the data flows. That is it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't get the implementation details. What they had to sacrifice,
Right.
what they had to, kind of like think about how they had, like how they made the registers much more faster, right? I mean, those things you won't get it. Like there is a register. That is it. I mean,
Correct.
so the thing is, I think, right, Qualcomm can do it, right? The Qualcomm has been a major brand, right? Like for a long time in terms like
Absolutely.
when you think about Qualcomm, they started with those routers and modems, right? If you remember,
Yeah.
even MediaTek, they started appearing in those routers and modems and all those things, right? Those
Right.
old Nokias used to have Qualcomm, right, on board.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 series, right? 3 series and 2
Yes.
series. We never knew it. It was running Qualcomm. Like it had ARM SoC inside, right?
Okay.
And when we went to smartphone, then only we started caring about SoCs.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely correct.
So it was like Qualcomm was there forever, right? And Apple is basically a new dog when it comes to the ARM, right? The architecture. And Qualcomm has been there for ages, and their design is much more perfect than M1. Like in the sense like
Yeah.
M1 is much more faster, but there are a lot of architectural bugs which are getting nowadays, shined into light, right? Like
Yeah.
a
Right.
lot of things are happening. Like there was a bug where you can actually access another app's data, right? I mean, that
Okay.
bug, right? Like, so what
Yeah.
happens is that if you have a malicious app, then the malicious app can tap into another app voluntarily, right?
Right.
And kind of they can cooperate with each other to send the data, like telemetry data and those kind of things, even without Apple knowing it, right? So those new bugs are introduced only because the M1 architecture is new, right?
I see.
Obviously, it is not a new architecture; it is an enhanced architecture from the ARM model, right? I mean, the original ARM architecture.
Okay.
But still, Qualcomm's architecture is much more mature and much more optimized, right?
Right.
But Apple's is much more, optimal to the, end user. Like, end user runs an application, it runs better on M1, right? I mean,
Right.
that is the thing. If they know that thing, I think Qualcomm might make a better processor than
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Apple, because they can optimize something which Apple can never imagine at this scale,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Because they are in business from ages, right? So like they know like from of which thing to tweak
Absolutely.
and get the performance out of it. So yeah, with the power of those M1 creators and the experience of Qualcomm, they are going to create a very good thing, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
this is just I guess just starting, right? And I think this is good
absolutely.
because now we get a chance, right? We absolutely get a chance
Yeah,
to see the competition, right, between companies.
yeah. Now, like there will be some good competition. Like
Now
till
the
now, I
game
guess in
starts,
mobile.
right?
Exactly, exactly.
The thing is,
Now the thing is,
AMD
yeah,
and
yeah.
Intel better get into the ARM business, so they are kicked out of the market, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like you have predicted the future very accurately. Like from 10 years from now, I guess there will be no CISC device. I guess every device will be RISC. That is ARM.
Absolutely,
So I mean you are correct. Like every laptop, every tablet, every phone will be ARM. So
absolutely.
they
Like
need to
the
switch.
thing is, servers have already started moving to ARM, right?
Correct.
The thing is, everything starts at server, right? That is where the ripple
Yeah,
starts, right? Like when you think about
yeah,
it, the, like that is a benchmark, right? I mean, like even the GPUs, those things got introduced in servers, then came to the user end, right? High capacity memories got introduced in servers, then came to the user end, right?
yeah,
Gigabit
yeah.
LAN ports and multi-gigabit LAN ports
Yes.
introduced in servers came to user end. You know,
Correct.
all those
Correct.
things which we use in user end first got introduced in servers. And if servers
Absolutely.
are moving to ARM, it is just a matter of
Yeah.
time that the users will also get the normal users will also get ARM
Correct.
in their PCs. And I hope with this change we will get an option to install Linux, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I hope
I see.
that is a one thing I hope doesn't go, right, because in theory
I think it
newer
won't go.
these M1 chips and those kind of things have their own bootloaders to a point where bootloading
Yeah.
itself is a different process when compared to
ARM.
UEFIs.
Yeah. ARM is like, yeah, the only disadvantage that you told, like it is kind of a locked ecosystem. So in that case, you are correct. Like it's a little bit hard for Linux, but I think people will find out some ways.
Yeah, like I mean, people have even cracked and installed Linux in things where you are not even supposed to get a compiler for things, right? For example, let's say
Oh, yeah,
Xbox,
right.
right? You have
Yeah,
Xbox compiler, but you don't have the low-level compilers for Xbox. And
correct,
people
correct,
did,
correct.
reverse engineer the instruction set architecture, right? And they kind of made their own compilers, right? They made
Oh,
GCC
yeah.
work, and then they made homebrew work on those Xboxes. You know
Amazing.
what homebrew is, right?
I have heard of it. Like, is it
Homebrew
related to something?
is like Linux applications, right? For
Yeah,
everything, right? I mean, homebrew is like a store, you can see, right? A market,
yeah,
and you can install things from homebrew, right? I mean,
right.
and homebrew is like the pinnacle of everything, right? Like if you jailbreak something, you install homebrew in it, so that you can install
I see.
anything, right? You can install open
Yeah,
games, like games which are open to everyone,
okay,
right? And stuff like that. Um,
okay.
so the thing I am like saying is that like Intel, right? Intel is
Hmm.
like by default it is already made so that it can boot any OS, right? Like the
Yeah,
x86 and x64. They can't
yeah,
change it because the architecture is already mature and everyone is now used to using this. That if they change this, it
right.
might break so many things, right? But ARM is new. They can change it because this is the time. This is
Hmm.
critical. Like this is the time where they set the limits, right, of things.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah,
why I'm afraid a little bit. Right? They
right.
can lock down things.
Yeah, and you are. I am also afraid, like for the same thing. Like,
So
we are we
hope
are we are watching the thing happening with Android phones and
absolutely.
Apple M1 power laptops and tablets, right? So yeah,
Apple
that is
M1
again.
runs Linux, but very poorly, right? There is no hardware acceleration whatsoever.
Yeah.
It is like Pine Phone
Classic.
2.0 at this point,
Okay.
right? I mean, when you
Yeah,
compare
right.
of the performance between the if you're running Mac versus if you're running Linux on MacBook with M1,
Hmm.
absolutely the M1 chip basically crushes Linux with macOS,
Correct. Correct.
and that is mainly because of the hardware acceleration. Hardware is not at all supportive towards Linux.
Yeah. And I don't think like Apple is planning to release the required drivers or something like that.
Yeah, I
don't know
mean
what is the
that will
concept.
crush their competition, right? In theory, like
Exactly.
when you think about it, Linux is what Mac OS is, right? I mean, both are same ancestors, right? Unix, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens is, I mean, in the case of Linux is built from scratch, right? But it is Unix-like, right? That is the thing. The thing is, Linux does everything Mac OS does, but little bit better, right? I mean, in theory, because
Absolutely.
because it is like a little bit more faster, right? I mean, when you think about it, but Mac
Correct.
OS is way better than Windows, right? In terms of performance,
1,000 times.
thousand times better than Windows. So if you want to use it, I mean, don't use Windows. Go ahead, use Mac OS. Go ahead, use M1, right? Because M1
Yeah.
is the only thing sane Apple has done yet now, right? I mean, sane in the sense like in performance and cooling, right? I mean, that is why.
Yeah.
But when you think about Mac OS, it is lacking a little bit from the Linux, right? If you compile GCC for Linux, it runs a little bit more faster. GCC for Mac OS runs a little bit more slower than Linux, right? And things like that, like just small differences. But if people were used to like installing Linux on Mac OS with full support, then people will start buying MacBooks and install Linux.
Yeah.
And when they want to repair it, they will start installing Mac OS and give it to repair.
Correct.
And now MacBooks are Linux laptops, right?
I see.
That is absolutely what they want to prevent, right? I mean, because you know that Apple do actually have other services. That is, they charge for their applications. They charge for the licenses. Linux is majority open source operating system, right?
Yeah.
Like most of the things you get is open source. So
Hmm.
you kind of get used to also using open source software to a point where Apple
Correct.
don't get the juicy secondary revenue. They get after sales
Yeah.
from the device.
Right.
So I think that is it for this.
Yeah,
What do you
okay.
think? Like,
So absolutely, yeah. That was like this episode like it was amazing. We went till the depth of every topics, and it was like 1 hour now. But
perfect.
it's the content was really good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like, share, and subscribe, guys. If there is any suggestion or any question, like please let us know in comments.
And
We'll
also
answer that.
text forums, right? There is text forums.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, you can just go to tuxforums.com and post it there. There are,
Absolutely.
threads for Linux, Windows, everything. Right?
Correct.
So whichever you have doubts, you can post it there. Maybe your question is already answered. You can just search it there.
Yeah, you can even search, right?
So yeah,
Yeah.
stay tuned for next
So-
episode. I guess Sunday
Every
at
Sunday 9 p.m. Perfect.
Indian Standard
Okay,
Time. Right?
so absolutely.
So
So
yeah,
goodbye, everyone.
goodbye.